Felipe Perez, a security and threat researcher with many accolades, including founder, cybersecurity advocate, and application security specialist. Felipe will be speaking about the critical importance of permission management in cloud-native integrations and how an inadequate permissions model can create significant advantages for attackers. The talk is called Revealing Choke Points, Practical Tactics for Boosting Cloud Security. Everyone please give a warm welcome for Felipe.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me good? Right? Nice. So, I will divide these presentations in two parts, actually. The first part is the more bullshit part. As a technical, theoric part. I know that's bullshit, but it's necessary. And the other part is more technical, And, okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm Director of Threat Research at senhasegura. Senhasegura is a Brazilian company. By the way, I'm Brazilian. But I'm living in Portugal. But I'm moving to the US. It's quite complicated, but that's me. And I'm responsible for identifying new threats in the cloud, understand how the attacker uses specifically techniques to, bypass some misconfigurations and stuff like that, and bring technology from this project, okay? I'm very active in different security communities, like, as you can see, Red Team Village, Adversary Village. Now it's my first time here at Cloud Village, and thank you everyone for accepting my talk. And I'm a part of the Hacking is Not a Crime, and I'm Snyk Ambassador, the open source part, not enterprise, okay? Just open source again. And I'm instructor, writer, and reviewer of PentestMagazine in Europe, so if you'd like to share your knowledge, so I can help you, with some articles, and I can review if you want. It's a very nice magazines in Europe, okay? Nice, good picture just for my mom. Anyway, so before to start, I just would like to put every people on the same page. If you are, principal, expert, I'm sorry, but I need to put every people on the same page. Just explain what is a threat. It's not my definition. It's according to these eyes. It's a potential cause that, can happen in some organization or system. What kind of software attack, theft of intellectual property, or identity theft? When you talk about the cloud, we have many identities there. We have many permissions. We have many rules, many groups, and many. I don't know if I can use fucking, but many fucking things, okay? Anyway, sorry for the not be polite, it's recorded, but anyway. And sabotage and information stored are example of information security threats. Just a simple example what it is, because when you talk about the cloud, we have many connections between. So when you have something like this, we need to investigate that. Okay, another term, what is high value target? Usually comes to the military terminology. Many things in cybersecurity comes the military terminology, but basically is a kind of a person resource that enemy command requires to complete a mission, okay? When you think about the cloud, it's quite different, because in the past, when you think about the high-value target, we look into the Active Directory, okay, to the on-premise. The guys responsible for managing this was the high-value target. But when you talk about the cloud, so everyone that has access in the cloud can be a high-value target, okay? Nice. So let's go to when you talk about organization, sometimes we understand that C-level can be the high-value target, but not everyone that has elevated privilege in your organization assets can be a high-value target. Just to summarize, okay, one terminology. It means that people work with the sensitive data or the high-stack projects can be a high-value target, okay? So that's important to understand, high-value target. Another term is attack vector and attack path. Okay, attack vector is the method used by cyber attackers, not the hackers, okay? Because hackers, as I mentioned in the beginning, is the guy or the people that works with a creative mind, okay? That they help companies. If you do bad things, you are criminal, okay? You need to go to the jail. I know that's not simple like this, but anyway. And that's the point. When you think about attack vector, is the method to use to explore environments. What kind of? Usually it's more we know like a malware enhancer. Phishing is a kind of strategy used to explore this kind of environment. So you can send an email with some sample there or some file. The user can click and go inside, and that's it. But there are another human errors, okay? One of these is weak credentials. As you can see, so if we collect those credentials, we can go inside of the cloud. Another is poor encryptions. When you talk about, for example, web applications, so if there are some poor encryptions in this application, we can block this, you can go inside as well. And misconfiguration, the main topic of our conversation, okay? So if someone apply a bad configuration, they can go inside based on these actions. So, and another is those things allow, or even permission, or whatever permission that allow a kind of sensitive information inside of the cloud. So let me do a question. Who here worked with AWS? 9. Nice. Who works with GCP, OCI, and Azure? Oh, Jesus. So, you know, so the people works in AWS and Azure for the same time. Yeah, that's true. Okay, multi-cloud environment. That's the big challenge, you know, because we need to manage those things. And who knows the AWS web architecture here? AWS web architecture. Damn, that's the point, you know. So I asked how many people worked with AWS. I think almost 80%, 90%. But when I ask about AWS framework, AWS web architecture framework, just 4 people, hands up. That's a big problem, because web architecture is the guidance to work with in the security way using AWS. We have a least privilege concept and many things about this topic that I will share with you. Okay, another topic is, okay, the attack path. Just to explain, is the visualization of the chain. As you can see here, this is the simple application on security risk from OASP, but just to see the graphic, not, in this case not graphic, but the attack vector, remember how they can use it, like a misconfiguration, can be some security weakness like go inside, or they bypass some security controls. You can have some impact, technical impacts, and you can have some business impact. It's the attacker perspective, okay? And choke points, so the topic of our conversation. So choke points is a strategy location where multiple attack paths converge. That's the key, converge, you know? So if you have, for example, AWS, and you have Azure, for example, you have a multi-cloud. So where is the choke point? So, you know, the point of choke inside of the organization, that the attacker can go move laterally inside, or they can escalate privilege in your environment. That's the key. So like this one here. So here basically you can see this is the main graph. This is the Neo4j. You can see this is the group of permission, AWS group here. So we have in the orange color 135, 5 users, and this is the choke point in this case, because it's the point that are connected in this example. Just to clarify what is a choke point, okay? So for the defensive perspective, when you cut this, when you change in this policy group, you can broke the choke point. That's the key, you know, because remember, so if you divide this room, we have here, for example, a group of the cloud, you know, developers, and here we have just the developer. This is the bad guys, okay? No, I'm joking, please, I'm joking. Okay, don't kill me. Okay, so all those people are connected based on permissions, right? Based on relationship that you have inside of the groups. So we need to identify those choke points, because based on those choke points, we can cut and, you know, break, stop some attacks, okay? Nice, so let's go about AWS. So everyone maybe knows about this. So this is the simple definition, what it is, AWS, AAM, in this case, responsible for centralize every access in different resources in AWS. Felipe, but about Azure, about OCI, about other cloud providers, how this works? The logical of the attack is quite the same, okay? We just need to understand how for example, Azure works, in this case in Enter ID, if Microsoft didn't change the name again, but, you know, was Azure ID, but now it's Enter ID, so I don't know if, okay, anyway. So that's the point. So it's based on subscriptions, it's quite different, but when you talk about OCI, it's very similar to the IAM services, okay? Nice, so IAM, if you don't know, is just responsible for authenticate and authorize this kind of resource inside of the cloud. And this is the permission based on this is from AWS, by the way, that when you need to set some permissions to the AWS, you need to use this example. What is more important in this case? Many things, but basics is a statement here. You need to collect those statements, and what is the impact here? Is the effect, or if I can show some more important things, is the effect, allow or deny, and the actions, a bunch of actions include that allows, the policy allows or denies, okay? So that's the point. So here's some example, and simple example about this. This is more important. This is one of the permissions, the policy default from AWS. Who knows this policy? Okay, this is standard, right? So EAM read-only access. The question is dangerous or not? What do you think? Who know that is dangerous? Hands up. Who think that's not dangerous? Who think it's nothing? Yeah, because I think it's that's the point. It's difficult to answer. But anyway, so the point is, sometimes can be dangerous because it depends of the user, because they can read some sensitive data. You know about compliance. I don't like compliance, but anyway, but it's necessary again. So if the user receives these permissions, or the developer, and they read some sensitive data, is the problem here. You know, so you can read this in AWS well architecturally. So remember that. So if you see here the statement, you have the allow and the actions. Just two actions, list and get. I cannot write nothing here. I cannot change any policy here. I cannot delete anything here. So maybe it's not too dangerous, but again, depends of which is the function of the guy responsible for receive these permissions. Okay, nice. So let's think about how this exploitation can be possible. So just for, if you work with AWS, you know that when you have some secret or key, you just go to the CLI, AWS CLI, click AWS Connect or whatever, something like this, and they request you a secret and key, right? That's okay? And after that, you have another 3 or 4 information, then you can use the standard information, right? Just click enter and that's it. And you can go inside. After that, you can go to see, for example, set this command, for example, list users to identify if some user you can read. So let's suppose that I gain the access to some specific AWS key and secret. I connected, and this example, and I try to list information. And if you see here, is access denied. What that means? That this secret and this key doesn't have any permissions to read. That's okay? So the security guy won in this case. Nice. List policy, the same case, access denied, so was denied. And list group denied. Cool. So good configuration, success. But now let's suppose if there are one action, I put 2 key, but this here, but it's not necessary to. This one of this is enough, and I will explain more. So this is how you can create a new policy, for example. I will create one single policy using one single action, and I will show the impact of this specifically action. So if you see here, when you put the resource, I use an asterisk. In AWS suggestion, the kind of warning, because we should set a specifically AWS resource name, okay? So that's the point here. But you can do it if you want to put in asterisk. And I create this policy and I call attack module. And if you see here, the effect is allow. The action is create policy version. And if you see just one action, can you see? One only action. If you see in the presentations, you can see just one only action. And the resource, I call it policy, and I set here asterisk, as you can see. Maybe this is too small, but no problem. We can manage this, okay? Now you can see better, right? Cool. Let me go to the next step. So now I wrote an article explaining all those steps. You can find this article on PentestMagazine and my LinkedIn as well, so it's no problem. And after that, I went to Google, and I typed there, so how I can create a new policy with the full access in AWS. Let's suppose that I am a newbie, okay? And they suggested me this code. I just copy and paste. What's that mean in this case? So if you see here, we have an access to the all AAM service, okay? And not only this, but they suggested me to add those others. Services or resource, the organizations. If you know organizations is a top of account, and you can have more than many accounts below of this organization. So the company usually, when they use many accounts, they set one organization and behind many different accounts, right? So here, I'm trying to change something. So let's suppose I'm just a user that I can create a new policy. I'm just access just only one account. But based on this new permission, I can change, or the attacker can change my policy. If you see here, I go to Google once again, and I request how I can set the new policy using CLI, for example. and they suggest me this command here, AWS AAM create policy version. I need to set the policy arm, just copy and paste, set my policy, my document, and here's the new document that I created. And take a look at this, set as a default. What happened now after that? So if you see here, so the policy will change it. So now the attacker can escalate a privilege based on one only action. You can see the impact of that checkbox, fucking checkbox. And this checkbox is included in the administrator access and many others. But usually you go to the AWS policy, you see administrator access, and you enable because it's easier to work in this way, right? So let's get this as access to the developer and they won't shit me. Right? It's easy, right? That's the point. But what is the impact? You see the impact. So remember, the guy should have one access in one single account, but now they have an access in the full organization, many accounts. Can you see the impact? So that's the key here. Nice. So let me go to a next one. So now the attacker has access to the full environment. Okay, that's the point. Okay, so how we can mitigate that? So how we can protect that? It's because, okay, I gave the problem to you, but now I can help you with some solutions, okay? So we have a kind of different products, more than one, but I just have a time to share with you some of them. So this is one of the interesting projects called Cartography, okay? It's an open source project. So basically the idea here, if you see, they create a kind of statement and they use in Cypher query. If you don't have much knowledge about software query, it can be more difficult to you, but anyway. So basically the query is to collect some ideas, to find some users that has the create policy. Remember, when you have the create policy, okay, when you suffering these attacks, remember the flag in the end of the command, set as a default. So if you have these actions based on the set as a default, you can do the same attack. That's the key. And if you think in AWS, you have more than 6,000 permissions inside of that. So we have a big field to make the research. What is the impact with other actions that we have? Okay. Another very nice tool is AWS PX. As you can see here in this picture, so we have here more than one users like this one, and take a look how many actions they have. Take a look this relationship between each user and which group with permissions. It's so complex, right? So that's the point. So we need looking to inside of each permissions, to look inside of each checkbox, and based on that we can improve the security posture in cloud security. Okay, so they create a kind of pseudo effective admin. It's a kind of high value target, but if you see here, we have many connections, many relationships. Okay, just to finalize, hi, senhasegura, my company can help the community. We create this project totally community free of charge, called Build With Us. So if you want to scan this QR code, it's not malicious, I promise you, I think, but it's not. And what is this project basically? It's the same idea of this project. I'm just go to the end. So you can have an access to a full version of four actually cloud providers, AWS, GCP, Azure, and OCI. You can receive recommendations to change these policies, this permission, how you can increase that. If you see here, we have a kind of recommendations about administrator access, a bunch of access or overprivilege that you have inside of that. So you can see what you can improve this, how you can change this. So not only this, but in the beginning here, if you see, there are specifically sandbox mode here, you see? So you don't need to include any things to your environment. This is a fake information, just to see how this tool works. And after that, you have kind of informations about the access path here. So you can see in a graphic way how is basically the connections between of the permissions, where or when they will access. And in the end here, we have a real graphic of these things, and we have a specifically attack path version here. So this is the feature. Basically, you can map based on the action. In this case, another action, attack user policy, that you can attach new permissions from the users. So attach, user policy is a kind of action. The same case to the create policy. So, and here we have another, is oh man, I forgot the name in English. Is machine learning. It's machine learning. So we can suggest to the code to change the policy to help you, using CloudFormations and Terraform. And that's the key. So again, just for free, so you can use in your environment if you want. And if you have any questions, I think I don't have a time to questions, but I can see the crew. But again, guys, thank you for being here, and I hope it should be useful. Remember, one single action has a big impact in your environment. So check this out, see how this works, make your tests, okay, and you can see how is the impact. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.